G'day folks, it's Tony here from Bitshares, and in this video I wanted to go over how to use your collateral to help actually lock up some Bitshares and increase buying pressure. So this video is really more for people that have already downloaded the Bitshares wallet and who already have some Bitshares. So I'm going to go over here to my account. Okay, and as you can see, I have a small margin position. I was just testing some ruble here. I've got 1,000 ruble, and that's collateralized with 229 Bitshares. Okay, now if I go back to my portfolio, you can see I've got Bitshares and Zephyr and Bitcoin and Stealth and Obits and so on and so forth, right? So now there's different types of people. There's people who like to use their collateral to margin trade or do what's called margin trading interest free. And that's where you basically borrow against your collateral a bit asset, for example, like BitUSD or BitChinese yuan, and then you would use that borrowed money to then send it to yourself or to buy some more Bitshares or buy some Bitcoin or some Ethereum or whatever else you wanted to trade. Now, of course, there's other people who don't want to trade and they don't want to basically risk any of their capital. But there is a way that they can actually help increase buying pressure by using their collateral without actually putting it at risk. And this is what I'm suggesting. So now you can see I've already got USD here. So I could just click on here and go to trade, right? Or I can click on exchange and I can go up in here or I can go over here. Either way, I would use this borrow USD. Okay, so if I click here, it now brings up, here's my collateral, and you can see I've got no debt. So now if I put in here 10,000 US and I collateralize that with 250%. In other words, I'm going to use 67,450 Bitshares as collateral to collateralize this 10,000 debt. So in other words, the exchange is saying, okay, well, we'll lend you 10,000, but you need to back it up with something. That's kind of like going to the bank and saying, hey, Mr. Bank, look, I've got $72,000 worth of equity in my home, and I would like a $10,000 line of credit. Now, of course, the bank's going to see that as a no-risk opportunity for them. They'll put a caveat over your property, so if you default on the loan, they'll obviously foreclose on you. And of course, they're going to charge you interest and fees and so forth. On the Bitshares DEX, it's also a bank. It's actually a decentralized bank, except you can borrow this 10,000 and you're not going to be charged any fees whatsoever. You're not going to be charged any interest. Okay, so I'm going to borrow this 10,000 and I'm going to update my position. And then I'm going to confirm, and you can see my fee is a cent or just over a cent. Okay, so I'm going to confirm that. Boom, there you go. I just borrowed 10,000. Now, if I go back to my account, you can now see I have a margin position. So it's 10,000 and it's collateralized with 67,450 Bitshares. So I just took 67,450 Bitshares out of circulation. Okay, now think about that. I haven't spent the 10,000, so I actually haven't risked anything. I've just borrowed the money, and if if this started dropping and the Bitshares price started dropping for whatever reason, I can just click here, close my position, and no problems. Okay, so but what I've done is I've borrowed the 10,000 and I've collateralized that with this much Bitshares. Now, if you think about all the people out there that actually have some Bitshares, if everybody did this and they just went and borrowed, and let's say they didn't want to do any margin trading. Obviously, there's guys that are already doing this, but I'm talking about the guys that may have extra Bitshares who are also margin trading and are willing to risk a bit more. or not really risking anything, because if they've already margin traded USD, maybe they'll go and borrow some CNY and not use that to buy anything. But for the guys that actually have some Bitshares who don't want to risk their capital, they could just borrow and just keep an eye on it. If it starts to go down, just close the position. But while it's not going, if everyone just went and did this, probably the price isn't going to go down, the price is going to go up, because there would be more buying pressure. There'd be more people buying the Bit USD, our Bit asset. And of course, if everyone could do 2, 5, 10, 50, 100,000, and thousands of people could do that, that would be a lot of Bit USD now tied up and collateralized with Bitshares, which would obviously put pressure on the price of Bitshares and would keep boosting it up. Anyway, that's my little tip for today. And of course, if you want to close, you just come here and you close that position and you just click confirm. And that's it. That would close that margin position. So you actually haven't risked your collateral by just borrowing. If you, of course, then take that borrowed 10,000 and then go and buy something, and then the price drops, well, that's when you can get yourself into a little bit of trouble, and that's really more for advanced traders. But this strategy is for the people that don't really want to take a lot of risk, but they still want to help increase the price and create a bit of buying pressure. You could also go and buy some Hero, and and that's for people who are real long-term holders who would like to get 5% return on their investment. But at least with this way, I've borrowed the 10,000. It's ready there to buy something if I want to. Okay. Whereas if I lock it up some other way, I may not be able to get to it. But at least with this, I can access it whenever I want. And while it's here, it's actually taken some Bitshares out of circulation, which of course increases the price of Bitshares. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.